What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive, and faster than a speeding bullet SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. And for today's majestic and fantastic video, we'll be traveling the cosmos with Ryan North's Fantastic Four, issue number 2. Before we jump into everything that is Marvel's first family and everything that is related to number 4, if you are new to the channel, then smash that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on anything that happens on this majestic channel. And because we managed to cross over 1,000 subs, let's raise the bar and go full on Super Saiyan as we try to get 40 more subs before the end of 2022. To be specific, 42. You get the idea. So yeah, don't be rude. It's free, folks. It's the price of admission. Don't be a nerd. Show some class. Hit that subscribe button. Thus, without further ado, let's dive into the Kirby cosmos with Fantastic Four, issue number 2. Our story begins at a diner where both Reed Richards and Susan Storm are having some lunch, grubbing on some delicious sloppy joes. And while Marvel's power couple are eating their heart's desires, we get some narration happening from Susan Storm. Because in the background, Sue's writing a letter to Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. And essentially what she's saying is that she misses her. She misses Jen's friendship. Because given what happened during the Reckoning War, which led to the death of Jack of Hearts via Reed's decision, She-Hulk's friendship with the group essentially splintered. And assuming Jen has seen the news of late regarding the giant crater where the Baxter building used to be, Susan just wants her to know that, it's not what it looks like, and that Reed is trying to fix things. However, it's here where the couple gets interrupted by a waitress who's asking if they're the real Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. And so once Reed's like, yeah, I actually am the real deal, everyone inside the diner starts to transform, thus revealing that everyone inside is a freaking Doombot, and they are ready to kill the crap out of our heroes. Eventually, everything immediately comes to a stop once a state trooper shows up, but upon his arrival, the Doombots quickly switch back to their human forms, and the waitress from before just starts to blame the Fantastic Four members for starting the fight, which of course isn't true. And although Reed tries to convince the state trooper that, everyone inside is a Doombot, the cop doesn't care because at the end of the day, he didn't see what happened. So from his point of view, who gives a shit? Afterwards, Reed and Sue return back to the town because no way in hell would they ever just leave a town alone and B, knowing that the entire place is controlled by Doombots. I mean, that's just rule 101 when you're part of the Fantastic Four. And so upon returning, Sue uses her powers to keep her and Reed invisible, given the fact that they're in enemy territory. Now, while the two are investigating, a sudden surge starts to go off, revealing that literally everyone is a Doombot. However, when they see an old woman make her way across the street, she's the only one who's not turning or surging into a bot. Therefore, Reed suggests that this old woman might actually be the one who triggers. Like everywhere this woman goes, the Doombots immediately switch back to their human form. But once she leaves the area, they revert back to their Doombot form. Now, Reed has an idea on how to get more information. However, knowing that the Doombots are set to attack the Fantastic Four on sight, that's when we see Reed use his disgusting, stretchy skills to form himself into a new face. A face that is not Reed Richards. And from there, that's when Reed, via his new disguise, confronts the woman, asking her if she knows Victor Von Doom. And that's when we fast forward a bit to the woman's house, where both Reed and the lady are talking about Doom. And she explains that back in the day, decades ago, back when she first met Victor, he was but a student. He was an immigrant who never talked about his family. Yet it was always apparent to her that Victor was someone who secretly struggled. And so seeing that he had no place to go at the time and he had nowhere to eat, every night she offered him food. And every night, Victor would tell her that, I will pay you back. However, what became apparent from this conversation is the fact that the old woman, she has no idea on who or what became of Victor, meaning she has no idea that Victor Von Doom became the infamous Dr. Doom. Afterwards, Reed goes outside to talk with Susan to give her his new working theory, his hypothesis, if you will. And basically, Reed believes that once Victor graduated and, after he took over Latveria and becoming Dr. Doom, as a means to pay back the woman, Doom built some Doombots to protect the woman from harm. And over time, the Doombots must have self-produced, and seemingly the bots are trying to make Mary's life as comfortable as possible. Yet at the same time, because these are Doombots, they still fucking hate the Fantastic Four. Now, essentially, these Doombots hold Mary, the old woman, as their #1 priority, meaning that killing the Fantastic Four is surprisingly their second, which is pretty hilarious. However, the theory immediately shits the bed because once Reed and Sue return inside the house, due to her force field abilities, she is able to detect a Doombot illusion field, and thus it's revealed that Mary is in fact a Doombot. But wait, there's more, folks, because after some extensive investigating, it turns out that Mary's deceased body, aka her skeletal remains, have been encased within the Doombots. Check it. Basically, since these Doombots were designed to protect Mary, they took that job literally. With Mary growing older over time, her body becoming more frail, suppose that one day she gets hurt. Well, because the bots aren't freaking medical doctors, they do the next best thing. They basically encase her body with the Doombot casing, straight up turning its innards into a mobile hospital. But alas, it is not enough, and so she eventually dies. And yet, because of Dr. Doom's personality, these bots are refusing to acknowledge defeat. Hence as to why everything is happening, and why everything is still happening the way that it is. However, because this facade, this unwillingness to admit defeat, and to admit that Mary's dead, the Doombots come crashing through the house in order to defend Mary. Because at the end of the day, according to their programming, it's time to fuck up the Fantastic Four. And thus the Doombots unleash a signal, ordering all the town's remaining Doombots to converge and destroy Reed Richards. Now the two heroes are able to escape, but because Reed is the smartest dude in the world, he's got another working theory on his hands. And from there, we travel to the nearest graveyard. And after doing some literal digging, they find that the people who have been buried are actually deceased Doombots. Basically feeling that Mary would have gotten suspicious if nobody died, some of the Doombots decommission themselves in order to make it look like they passed away. Since, that's how the circle of life works. Elton John, sing it, man. Anyways, and so after navigating through the circuits, Reed comes up with an idea. And that doesn't mean the destruction of Doombots, because overall, when it comes to it, the Doombots are actually pretty decent Doombots. Doombots considering, at least when it comes to Doombots in general. And so instead of destroying them, Reed has a way to reprogram the bots. And with that, Susan activates the Fantastic Four's EMP from their car. And after allowing the Doombots to converge on Reed's location because he sucks and they don't like him, the EMP goes off, shutting down the bots in the process. And during the entirety of the night, Reed basically reprograms every single Doombot. So essentially, all of the Doombots' memories and previous programming have been altered. No longer do they have the urge to destroy members of the Fantastic Four. No longer do they feel the need or this obsession to, impulsively defend Mary. Instead, Reed Richards, though he isn't perfect and, sometimes his intelligence gets the best of him, he was still able to give the Doombots a new life. For these machines who have pretended to be human for so long, well, they don't have to pretend anymore. For they can continue to live life. For they can live life happily ever after. Ba-bam. And that, folks, was the end of Fantastic Four, issue number 2. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly, truly means the world to me. So yeah, Fantastic Four, or should I say the Fantastic 2, was another great science fiction-esque story. And similar to the previous issue where, in the first issue, the issue focused on Ben Grimm and Alicia's Masters, having to deal with a time loop situation. Here we're focusing on Mr. Fantastic and Susan Storm combating a town full of Doombots. And just like the previous issue, the story here is very wholesome. Never do they ever feel angry or annoyed while reading the book. There's definitely something that Ryan North is tapping into with this sort of, one-shot format. And I gotta say, it feels refreshing because the format allows the book to showcase who your characters are and what their pros and cons are as well. And I'm not even talking about, their powers based. I'm talking about their characters. The issue gives us, the reader, the perfect showing of who and what Reed and Sue's relationship entails. And Ryan North does this masterfully. Yes, as Marvel fans, we of course know that Reed is the smartest guy in the world. Yet despite being the smartest guy, Reed is nothing without Sue. And so as long as Sue is, with him and is in Reed's corner, he's able to function properly. And so in other words, if I'm to make a water reference, since everything is water in movies these days, Way of Water, Aquaman, Namor, you get it? Reed is essentially a water full of knowledge, while Susan is a dam. Her presence and the trust that Reed has for her is what keeps him in check. While Reed, on the other hand, is able to inspire Susan to be better and be, smarter. And again, the word wholesome encompasses this to its entirety, and I cannot stress that enough. Basically, by showcasing the strong and loving relationship between Reed and Sue, them loving and accepting each other while, simultaneously having to contend with a Doombot takeover, it's great stuff. And it just sort of shows us that yes, the Fantastic Four concept can seem very dated at times, but as long as you inject heart and characters and family into their stories, then the Fantastic Four, they ain't gonna go anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, as always, I am your majestic say over at SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload. and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 3? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. A giggity goo.